Hello everyone, a big welcome to USP College and in particular the Travel and Tourism. Let's meet the team. Firstly, as I said, my name's Stuart. I'm one of the Travel and Tourism teachers here at the college. I'm giving my age away a bit here, aren't I? I've been teaching since 1999. Getting on. In a range of vocational courses, varying from sport, business and obviously travel. So a wealth of experience on vocational courses. I've also had employment within the travel industry. I was lucky enough to have a sabbatical year down in Australia in 2002-03, where I managed to end up managing a backpackers sort of a hostel in Western Australia in a place called Bunbury, which is south of Perth, if you know Australia. And yes, the picture of the hostel's on the screen here actually. And yeah, it's a good tip for you if you're obviously interested in tourism, that you have to be flexible in the tourism industry, as well as sort of managing the inn. I was tasked with painting it. So that lovely, or is it lovely? I'm not too sure. Blue painted building there is I had to do. So a top tip is definitely tourism industry is very flexible. You have to do a lot of roles. Also in 1997, when I left university, I spent one summer as sort of like a children's rep at Butlins in Bognor Regis down on the south coast. It was extremely hard work, but extremely rewarding. I learned a lot actually about life and work in that first summer after I left university. So that's my experience within the travel industry outside of teaching. So let's look at my likes. Well, I try to be an active person as much as I can. So do lots of outdoor swimming. I'm one of the crazy people that swim in the sea. Also still play football and tennis. And I love spending summer holidays with my family, particularly in Cornwall, which is the picture on the top right of this screen is a place called Bude, which is a favourite of mine. It's a lovely beach and sort of surfing sea. Dislikes, I don't have many dislikes to be honest with you, but yeah, it wasn't great for me being in Australia because I've always disliked snakes. And obviously lazy students, so please don't be lazy when you join us. My dislikes, lazy students. Hopefully, we won't have many, we don't have many, but our students tend to be very hard working here at CVIC, so I'm sure you'll be fine. So that's all about me. Let's move on to the next slide where you'll meet my colleague, Amanda. So Amanda is the other travel and tourism teacher within the team. Amanda's relatively new to the college. She joined CVIC and USP last year in 2019, where she arranged predominantly work experience placements and as a learning coach before she's commenced her journey into teaching. So we're very lucky to have Amanda. She spent a lot of time working in the industry, as you can see here, 18 years of working in the travel industry in a range of jobs, from being a travel agent to an overseas holiday rep to working on cruise ships and being an assessor for Thomas Cook. So, you're going to have a wealth of experience there in the classrooms and the knowledge that Amanda will be able to pass on to you. She has a real passion for travel. She loves traveling overseas to places such as Australia, Florida, Hong Kong. Amanda's likes is obviously loves planning future travel plans for herself and her family, and sharing her tourism knowledge to others. Amanda's dislikes is rainy days and traffic jams. So yes, so hopefully Amanda will still be in a good mood with you on rainy days in CVIC, and hopefully there won't be too many traffic jams getting to work. So that is the team. So my name's Stuart, and obviously my colleague is Amanda, and we'll be thrilled when we actually meet you in person. So you've just heard about the team. Let me now move on to the next sort of section of the PowerPoint, is looking at the entry requirements for the course and then some more information about the Travel and Tourism BTEC first. So firstly, obviously the entry requirements to get onto the level 2 BTEC first certificate is that you need at least 4 GCSEs at grade 3 or above, including English language and maths, and at least 1 GCSE needs to be a grade 4 or above. And I've put specific entry requirements on here. A key thing for us here as a team is that you've got a strong interest in the travel industry and you want to learn more about different destinations and different aspects of travel and tourism as well. So as well as your sort of academic entry requirements, think about your interest levels and what you might want to do in the future. So there are our entry requirements for the course, and in the next slides I'll move on to tell you a little bit more information about the specifics of the course. So, your travel and tourism study programme, so we call it the BTEC First Certificate in Travel and Tourism. Sometimes it's known as a Level 2 qualification, so it's equivalent, isn't it, of GCSEs. So that's your main programme, the BTEC First in Travel and Tourism. But you'll also have other aspects linked into your programme. I'm going to talk more about the BTEC First on the next slide. Basically, in the BTEC First Certificate of Travel and Tourism, you'll do 8 units, okay? 2 of those are what we call external tests or external assessments. Unit number 1, which is all about the UK travel and tourism industry, is an external exam that hopefully, all being well, that we'll be able to sit in January. And then Unit 7, which is really about the business side of travel and tourism, that's an external piece of coursework, okay? So we dedicate a week of your lessons, usually in the spring term, where you'll be set an external coursework to do in exam conditions, but it's basically a normal piece of coursework. It's just Amanda and myself haven't set it for you, the exam board have, okay? So all the other units there are what we call internal assessment, so it's assignments set by Amanda and myself. So some of the units that we look at are UK travel and tourism destinations, obviously in the current climate. Staycations, domestic tourism could flourish, couldn't it, over the next sort of 5 to 10 years. So we'll look at some of those destinations. Hopefully that travel will flourish again internationally. So Unit 4 is all about international travel and tourism destinations. And then what we call our optional units is Units 5, we look at factors that affect worldwide travel, so obviously lots of those at the minute. We look at the customer experience. Then you'll have the opportunity to organise a travel and tourism study trip, a day trip, which is a very active unit. And then we'll also look at holiday reps. So some of you may be really keen on being even a domestic or working overseas as a holiday rep. So that's the units that you'll study with us. So let's move on to look at educational trips and guest speakers. So obviously the previous slides I've gone through the content of your course. Now obviously the priority is for you to be extremely successful and get high grades within that course. But to bring the course to life, we do run a range of educational trips and have a range of guest speakers come into the college to inspire you. So let me go through a few examples on here. So the pictures that are on the screen here are our trip to the Emirates. So obviously, you know, they sort of told us all the career opportunities that are available within the airline, particularly focusing on what you would need to become if you wanted to work as cabin crew. We do similar for British Airways, where we spend the day, as well as going through the roles of different jobs. We also look particularly at the health and safety side of it, actually, sort of an evacuation of a plane. So very hands-on, diverse educational trip to Emirates and BA if you're interested in the aviation industry. And also we try and obviously link the units that you study to an educational trip. So UK visitor attractions is obviously one of the units. So we will experience those attractions in London, have educational talks while we're there. So, you know, a theatre trip to London, also use visiting museums and so on to get a true experience of the visitor attractions within our fantastic capital city. We also looked at the business side of travel and tourism, which is obviously extremely useful to you. So along with marketing, customer service, actually looking at how a company operates. So we usually do a trip to Colchester Zoo, where we have obviously a day at the zoo, but more importantly, we have one of the managers talk to us and explain the business side of operating a visitor attraction such as Colchester Zoo. So also we have a range of guest speakers come in to the college. So recently I've booked the manager of one of the Park Plaza hotels. It's the London Park Plaza. Is particularly going to come and speak to us about career opportunities there. Obviously the impact of Brexit is going to mean less overseas workers coming to work in the hospitality industry. So hopefully that will inspire, the talk will inspire some of our students to consider a career within the hospitality side of travel and tourism. So what I'm trying to get across to you is that, as well as obviously having inspiring classroom lessons, that we do engage with you via educational trips, both locally, because we shouldn't forget Southend and its importance as a visitor attraction, but to London and nationally as well. And also we'll have guest speakers that are relevant to the units that we're studying to just give you some more industry experience. So you obviously are going to be here at CVIC College to study the BTEC First in Travel and Tourism alongside potentially retaking either maths or English or both. But we want, as soon as you start at CVIC, we want to help you start building your career. It's not just about the course you're studying, although that's vitally important. It's about making sure that you're ready for your next steps. Okay, so the next few slides are going to be, I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about our ethos here at the college. So career-focused approach. What we mean by this is that your lessons will be linked to employer's feedback. So our units will be tailored to meet employers' needs. You'll have professional placements when you go on work placement, okay, and you'll be learning actively in the real world. And then hopefully this provides you with the challenge that will inspire and motivate you, and will provide you with those professional skills that you'll be able to either find sort of a high-end career of your choice, or you'll be ready for that next step. So that could be eventually going to university, but probably because you're on the BTEC First certificate course, you may well want to stay on at CVIC to complete the BTEC National in Travel and Tourism. So wherever you want to go at the end of this, our ethos is making you career ready. So as the slide says here, your career starts here. So throughout the year here at CVIC, we have 4 professional development days where that will really build on the skills that you'll need to be successful in a career in travel and tourism. Okay, so for example, some of the activities we did last year is that we visited the British Airways headquarters, where they did a training day with us. We also went to the Emirates airline headquarters as well. So they, for a tour and a talk, and that, to go through the skills that are needed in that industry. We also did trips nearby to Tilbury docks, obviously where the new port is there. So lots of cruise ships come in and out of there. So we looked at the cruise industry. We also use these days to get lots of relevant industry experts to come into college and talk to you about the industry. So we have 4 dedicated professional development days throughout the year that a range of learning companies will be involved in those. So work experience placements, I'm going to talk a little bit about those on the next slide, and that's obviously linked to making you employable. Okay. So as I mentioned there, so having meaningful professional development days and meaningful work experience is key for us here at CVIC. And on this slide is just a few of the placements that our current students have been on in the last academic year. So some of our students are really interested in the sort of like the hospitality side of tourism. So some of the placements we've had is the Royal in Southend, the Holiday Inn and the Park Inn in Southend. And then a bit further afield in Wickford and Basildon, some of the hotels and hospitality providers there that our students have worked at. Some of our students are more interested in sort of travel agency work, so Colchester Travel, STA Travel, some of our students have been in. And then lots of other students went on other types of placement tailored to their sort of interests. So we had some students working at Southend Airport, and then some of our students are interested in more of the conservation and rural tourism side. So Essex Wildlife Trust, we had some placements as well. So this gives you a real chance, doesn't it, to get to grips with the industry, and it looks great on your CV, and hopefully it's an innovative approach, our career pathways for you. So you're not just studying and passing your course with us, you're gaining all those skills that will make you employable. You may be interested in our tourism, travel and tourism destinations. So firstly, because you're sort of doing a level 2 qualification, the BTEC First certificate, you may well be looking to be with us here at the college for 3 years and to go on to the BTEC National. But these are the travel and tourism destinations of when students leave us. Okay, so we have over 70% of our students go into paid employment, which is more than 16 hours a week. We have around 7% of our students go into apprenticeships, and the same number for higher education. So I think the key for this is we only have sort of 7% of our students where we've got no destination for them. The rest are going either into work, apprenticeships and higher education. So that's really good, isn't it? And hopefully will inspire you that after successful completion of your time with us here at CVIC, there's good destinations for you. So what can you do after doing this travel and tourism? You may be thinking, a year goes quickly. That you may want to, if you're successful in passing your BTEC, you may want to study the BTEC National. Okay, so you're here for 3 years rather than traditionally 2. And so that could be your first option after doing that. You may want to go straight into work. You passed the BTEC first certificate. You may be successful in any retakes with maths and English, and you think, I'm ready for employment, and that's absolutely fine, isn't it? And then thirdly, I've put on here, you may actually prefer to go into a tourism apprenticeship. Okay, so lots of travel companies such as TUI, EasyJet, they do tourism apprenticeships. So there's a wealth of options for you when you finish your year with us here at CVIC. Hopefully you'll be inspired to stay on and complete the BTEC National, but there is employment and apprenticeship options for you as well. Yes, I sort of give my age away, haven't I, saying I've been teaching since 1999. So college life for me is a long time ago, but I do remember what college life is like and how important it is to sort of have that balance between, effective learning, making time to do your studies and do really well, but also that side of college life where you meet people that perhaps are different from where you went to school, and that's important, isn't it? So, having that learning space to do work, a quiet space to work on your own in study periods, but also having that social space to sort of meet and catch up with friends, and that's obviously available here at CVIC, isn't it? And USP College. So college life is fantastic here for students. You're obviously, if you've looked at the prospectuses, have some quotes there from our students that college life is we have work really hard on getting that balance between effective teaching and learning, you doing really well in your studies, but also you feeling like we're a community here at the college, which is important. Also on here, I've mentioned that professional development days, what we call CPD days. So within that, we do a lot of extra activities for your college life where you can really get to grips with the travel industry. So trips such as to the British Airways headquarters and to Tilbury Port, and that I've already mentioned, and the links that we have with Dockland University. So college life here at feeling part of a community is a big ethos for us here at USP College and at the CVIC campus, that making you feel welcome at home, where you can do really well in your studies, but you feel a part of a community as well. Well, this is the final slide, and I'd like to say a really big thank you for taking the time to go through the PowerPoint. It's a real shame that at this moment in time, I can't speak to you in person, and you could have come to the college and seen the excellent resources we have here for travel and tourism. But I hope you have found it useful. You've got a bit more flavour of the course